Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. We want to thank you for joining us. It is time now for today's health news, sponsored by the Wellness Company. Under the microscope today, could living near a golf course increase your risk of getting Parkinson's disease? Palm Beach, listen up, there's a golf course on pretty much every corner. A new study finds that living close to golf courses may increase your risk of developing Parkinson's disease. Researchers observed that individuals residing within 1 mile of any golf course had more than a double chance of developing Parkinson's disease. And on top of that, those getting their drinking water from areas with golf courses in vulnerable groundwater had an 82% higher chance of developing Parkinson's. The authors suggest this might be due to pesticide exposure from golf course maintenance leaking into drinking water or air. Is there such a thing as organic, like chemicals to take care of golf courses, or is it all just glyphosates and all that stuff? Glyphosates, I can never say that word right. Does anyone know? Let us know in our chat. I'll be in there in just a second over on Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. You know that stubborn ache that ice, heat, or pain pills won't touch? Well, TheraBlue was designed to go deeper. This next generation peptide gel uses AQA molecular delivery technology to relieve and to drive this relief down into your skin and deep muscle tissue. Its powerhouse trio is copper peptide that reduces inflammation, NAD+ that restores cellular energy, and methylene blue protects your mitochondria, helps support real recovery, not just numbing. Plus, MSM, turmeric, white willow bark, arnica, and ginger calm inflammation, while menthol and camphor give that instant cooling relief. Don't get it in your eyes, though. 10% off at twc.health/RAV, code RAV. Move freely again with TheraBlue. Emily.
So much, Dr. Gina. Now over to the Justice Department, which has opened an investigation into the violence at a recent Turning Point USA event at UC Berkeley. Officials called the events violent riots. At least 8 people were arrested at the event. One person wearing a Freedom t-shirt was beaten up by another man. Other people were arrested for trespassing, resisting, and other charges. Some of those arrested were either not affiliated with the university or were former students. Our next guest says they need to follow the money and see who is funding these protesters. And he says the IRS needs to get involved. Let's now bring in the CEO for the Alliance for IRS Accountability, former Senate Chief of Staff and attorney, Chuck Flint. Chuck, thank you so much for being on the show with us. How can the IRS step in to this process?
Well, thanks for having me on. The IRS can step in by stripping the groups that are supporting Antifa of their tax-exempt status. And what that will do is cut off the money train. And that's what needs to be done. That will have the most acute, immediate impact on what's going on. Antifa has become a real problem, and DOJ is cracking down. They're not only investigating them at Berkeley. There was a federal indictment in the Northern District of Texas last Friday of 9 Antifa members for attempted murder of law enforcement officers. Also, DOJ did something very interesting. They recently issued memos to prosecutorial offices around the country. They want 2 to 3 examples of judicial obstruction from judges that are interfering with these Antifa cases. Activist judges that are not only issuing adverse rulings, but doing other things to impede their prosecutions of Antifa-related cases.
Major conservative voices, including Cato Institute, Competitive Enterprise Institute, and the Wall Street Journal editorial board, are warning that using tariff revenues to send checks to lower and middle income Americans is some form of wealth distribution, that it expands government and hurts the very working and middle class families they claim to help, because it will raise prices, it will slow growth, and create new entitlements. They say, and this is of course being proposed by President Trump with the tariff money, they say it will raise the risk for midterms not to go the Republicans' way, because it goes against free market principles that Republicans ran on. What say you?
I think we need to give President Trump a chance on this. There's been a lot of talk about it, and the details have to be filled in. For example, are they going to cap it at a certain income? I've heard talk about capping it for individuals that are making $100,000. There's also some other things that are lying out there. How the Supreme Court will rule on the authority to impose the tariffs. Does it require congressional legislation? But I think that we also need to see how much revenue the tariffs will generate. But President Trump has floated this idea, and there's a lot of time between now and when he said he would like to potentially issue these checks from the tariff revenue. So, Dr. Gina, I just think we have to wait and see how it's going to unfold and let them fill in some of the details before we're making any judgments about it.
Is there a way to do this in a free market capacity without it being socialistic?
Well, I think so. It's the president has the authority, I believe, to impose these tariffs, and it's revenue that's being generated from other countries, right? I mean, they're tariffs that are being slapped on their imports. So I don't see it the same way as the government printing money in stimulus checks that we saw under President Biden, and that's a distinction that I would make. We're not printing money here. This is revenue that we're generating via the president's tariffs.
Chuck Flynn, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right. Coming up, President Trump wants one national AI standard, warning that 50 different state rules could cripple innovation and hand an advantage over to China. What is Trump trying to keep out of AI? We have his comments next on American Sunrise.